The View's Sunny Hostin claps back at TikTok experts for causing Gen Z's distrust in government. Misinformation is prolific everywhere. Sunny Hostin is clapping back at TikTok creators who consider themselves experts on certain topics. On this morning's episode of The View, the ladies discussed Gen Z's growing distrust in government institutions. Hostin, who is raising two Gen Z kids of her own, speculated why the younger generations might be questioning their political leaders. I see that they question everything. I think that a significant part of the reason that they question everything is because everyone is an expert on TikTok, she said. They think that their Google JD is the equivalent of my 30-plus years of being a bar attorney. I think part of it is that, and I think part of it is fake news and the misinformation that is prolific everywhere, Hostin added. Alyssa Farah Griffin, for her part, understood why the generation under her would be widely distrustful in institutions. I see that they question everything. I think that a significant part of the reason that they question everything is because everyone is an expert on TikTok, she said. They think that their Google JD is the equivalent of my 30-plus years of being a bar attorney. I think part of it is that, and I think part of it is fake news and the misinformation that is prolific everywhere, Hostin added. Alyssa Farah Griffin, for her part, understood why the generation under her would be widely distrustful in institutions. The former White House staffer also pointed fingers at the polarizing political climate for causing distrust among young people who have only lived in the politics of division. On a recent episode of The View, Sunny Hostin took a strong stance against the growing trend of TikTok experts, especially in the context of Gen Z's increasing skepticism toward government institutions. Hostin, a mother raising two children from Generation Z, discussed how this demographic seems to be questioning everything, particularly their political leaders and the institutions that have long been pillars of American society. She pointed out that much of this distrust can be attributed to the proliferation of misinformation on platforms like TikTok. I see that they question everything, Hostin explained, emphasizing that part of the reason young people seem so cynical about authority and the systems that govern them is because so many individuals on TikTok present themselves as experts in various fields, despite lacking real qualifications or experience. She specifically referenced the widespread belief among some Gen Z individuals that their Google JD, a term Hostin used to mock self-proclaimed experts, holds the same weight as years of real-world, professional experience. They think that their Google JD is the equivalent of my 30-plus years of being a bar attorney, Hostin said, reflecting her frustration with how misinformation and easily accessible but inaccurate information can impact the views of younger generations. Hostin further discussed the harmful role of fake news in shaping the opinions of today's youth. She lamented the sheer volume of misinformation, noting that it has become so pervasive that distinguishing fact from fiction has become increasingly difficult. This, she argued, plays a major role in fueling Gen Z's growing distrust in government and institutions. According to Hostin, while it's important to question authority, there is a fine line between healthy skepticism and outright distrust, which can be easily manipulated by the spread of misleading content. Alyssa Farah Griffin, another co-host on The View, shared her perspective, acknowledging that the current political climate has contributed to the rising disillusionment among young people. As a former White House staffer, Farah Griffin has seen firsthand how divisive the political landscape has become. She pointed out that Gen Z has only known a political environment defined by division and polarization, which naturally leads to a lack of trust in the government and its leaders. The generation has grown up amid controversies, scandals, and an overall toxic political environment, which only intensifies feelings of distrust. The conversation on The View highlighted the generational divide when it comes to attitudes toward politics, government, and authority. While Hostin and Farah Griffin acknowledged the importance of questioning and critically examining systems, they also stressed the negative impact of misinformation. They emphasized the need for younger generations to not just rely on quick soundbites or viral videos, but to approach issues with a well-rounded, informed perspective, one that goes beyond the 15-second snippets and unverified claims that dominate social media platforms like TikTok. In conclusion, the co-hosts of The View urged both Gen Z and older generations to seek out more reliable sources of information, to educate themselves thoroughly, and to approach the complexities of politics with a critical but informed mindset. Their conversation serves as a reminder that while questioning authority is vital, it is equally important to do so in a way that is grounded in facts and evidence, not just the latest viral trend or influencer opinion.